Hello everyone, Ohayou gozaimasu. Welcome to Ohayou Anime, the anime show that doesn't take place in the morning, but we get away with it because it's morning in Japan right now. My name is John, and I am going to be joined by some fun guests tonight, and we're going to be talking about Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, Episodes 2 and 3. So, we'll probably I have a couple manga reviews I'm going to get to as well, and we'll see what everybody else has been watching and such. And yeah, so we'll get right into it. We are live on Twitch and Rumble, so if someone wants to check us out on Rumble, you can do so there. But let's welcome in our first guest. JP, how's it going?
What is up, John? Things are going good.
Nice. Yeah, you're right here. You're on time. First one to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
You know, I feel like if we have people show up late, it feels more like a Rumble, WWE Rumble match. Just like people's like, oh no, they're running down. He's coming he's got shit to talk about anime. That's how I always imagined it, as was like with Mike, Phil, Andrew. Just people like, oh, another challenger approaches.
Nice. Yeah, I can see that. Listening in the background, waiting to get in here, and yeah, lay it out there.
I could be Bebop hater. He comes out of nowhere, slamming Bebop, and everybody else is just like. So yeah, I'm ready.
Nice. All right. Yeah, we Phil should be coming back sometime here, joining, and then we're hoping to have Mike and Andrea on later. It is something I like about StreamYard's a lot here. It's not perfect compared to how we do the main show with Discord and OBS and some of that, but like people can hop in and jump off whenever they want, you know. Doesn't harm anything or mess up the graphics or something like that. So okay, so before we get into it, what you been watching anything different this week? Catch up any different shows or something?
Anime wise, I haven't started anything. Wait, what did I? I watched the Zom 100.
Okay, how much of that did you watch?
I watched the first 2 episodes. Is there a third? I'm sure there's a third one out that I haven't caught up with yet.
I don't know. I was wondering because I watched the first 2 as well, so that was all available. That was available then.
Yeah, the whole soul crushing, working until you're tired, just gave me like accounting vibes. I was just like, man, that's true. I can't quit because everyone else is going to be relying on me, and then they'll have to pick up my work. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, man, that hits so true to so many people. And then Apocalypse comes, and it's like, haha, this is great. I don't have to go to work. Which I'm sure rang. That just hits. It has to hit home for too many people to be like, you know what, that's so true. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I enjoyed the style and everything with it. It was a pretty good one.
Okay. Yeah. It's written by the same person, I think, that did Alice in Borderland. Have you heard of that at all? Mm-hmm. It got popular here anyways because of the Netflix show. It's actually supposed to be good. And yeah, I like when I first saw this in the store as a manga, I thought, I don't know. It caught my eye because of the color, and it looked pretty cool. But then zombies, I don't know. I've seen a lot of zombie stuff. I don't know that I cared to see more or read more. But this was really a different take. Mm-hmm. And right away they nail the kind of attitude that this show has with how our character just doesn't seem to really care, and how this has made his life better. So it's just it's setting it up to be obviously not too serious of a show, and I think it's a fun different angle on the zombie thing.
And I'll say, for any other zombie show or anything that had that kind of vibe, the color scheme for everything was so vibrant and very. Mm-hmm. It almost seemed like cyberpunky, but not really. But I can't describe it. It really. If they wanted you to look at something, it just popped out right away.
Sure.
And it made everything look almost fresh in a weird way. I don't know. I thought it was really cool. It was just a super weird, cool take.
Mm-hmm. Phil is here. Welcome, Phil.
Hey, thanks guys for having me. Happy to be back.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
After my very brief appearance on the last pod.
I know. I was looking for, I was combing through for clips and stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, Phil wasn't here for long. Done have a lot of
had a
stuff to mine there.
Minor incident that is now resolved. Everyone's fine. So kids, animals.
Yep.
All good.
Yep. Not zombies, anyways.
No.
Did you catch the first 2 episodes of Zom 100?
I did. Yeah. So I really dug it a lot. I just caught a little bit of what you guys were chatting about with the color scheme and the animation, and really cool. I thought the bright colors were awesome. And JP, I think what I took it as they were trying to show. It's just interesting take on a zombie show, because they're almost saying like corporate rat race. That's what turns you into a zombie, like a human, like just zombie who just works all the time and has no life. Now, granted, that was a really exaggerated example, but obviously it happens. And everything was like really dark and grayscale in that first episode, where he was just like dreading his life, and he worked all the time. And then the zombies came, and then everything's like bright and wonderful and like colorful, even though that's like people getting brutally murdered in the street. But he's just like laying in a parking lot surrounded by fence, just like, this is great. This is amazing.
Beer.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite part. Just like, gotta go get more beer. I can't slack off if I don't have beer.
Yep.
Like,
yeah. So I've enjoyed the first 2 episodes immensely.
Nice. Yeah, and like the work, obviously there's exaggeration there, but the work thing, like the work culture in Japan, in my opinion, is pretty messed up. And a lot of these things, like if you're follow some of that, like hits home extra hard, because like the culture of sleeping at work yet, or you cannot go, whether even if you're done with work, you can't go home until your boss goes home first, or and there's a lot of like arbitrary rules that everybody has to like deal with. It creates like their whole system creates a lot of upper middle management, useless positions. It's because there's still so much in society. Here often you'd find like young kids sometimes take senior positions, I remember being just at Best Buy, even, sometimes these middle-aged people would sort of have an issue with like a 20-year-old kind of being their supervisor. That sort of thing isn't like a thing in Japan. Like you wait your turn, you go, like age is so important. And so you'll see there's a lot of people that are seeking work outside of Japan and neighboring countries and stuff like that, because like just the structure is really outdated, and it seems to be a problem there. So this show like really is tapping into that sort of horrendous sort of work culture that they seem to have there. So like there's a work ethic. Then. Yeah, there's a work ethic that's great, and then there is this is not the choice I want to make here, and then I'm still not making ends meet well enough. It's a similar situation in Korea, I guess. They were, I was watching some stuff, people asking like, hey, are you going to have kids? You plan to have kids? And a lot of people talk about how they want to have kids, but they can barely make it by right now, just themselves, or themselves and a significant other. So, so yeah, I think, you're automatically gonna, just like you, JP, a lot of people are gonna jump on and it's gonna speak to them for this, whatever varying degree you've dealt with in your life. So
I found it cool, kind of like we talked about a couple months ago, John. Fairly well-known manga being developed by studios that are working with other streaming services other than Crunchyroll. So like Zom 100 on Netflix, that's kind of cool. Versus it used to be, I feel like Netflix had all these like old shows that they're like, now we have the rights to and we can stream. But it's like now they're getting new shows that are just coming out. So that's, Hulu's getting shows, and Netflix is getting shows. It's pretty cool.
Did you guys see the live adaptation for One Piece?
I've seen that it's coming out. Yeah,
I just saw a trailer for it, and I was just like, "Wait a minute, what are they doing?"
Right. I mean, you think they would learn their lesson with Cowboy Bebop live adaptation, but Although I think that
was a masterpiece. I know that
people like
I think I think you're talking about Dragon Ball.
I think you're talking about any of them to this point, really, other than, like I say, the I mentioned earlier was by the same author as 100 is Alice in Borderland. That's people seem to actually recommend the live action over the anime.
Really?
Like, there's like the manga's the best, but if you're gonna watch it in the thing, then watch it in the live action version. So yeah,
okay,
that's definitely the exception, not the rule.
No.
Well, right.
I would totally watch a My Hero Academia live action though.
No. And see, see, they can get away with such outlandish thing. Think about when they were first going to bring X-Men to live action, right? And it's like, how are they going to do the yellow tights and the spandex, and that's going to look silly and stuff. Well, the answer was, we don't do that at all. Actually, we don't do that. We put them in black leather. And so My Hero Academia, you either go the route of trying to make it authentic, and then it doesn't work for live action, or you change it beyond the point of that it's not its thing anymore. Like, I think there's still this thing culturally where there's the idea of the pinnacle of media is movies, live action movies. Like, for some reason, that's the best form of multimedia we have. Even though, like, video games are bigger than movies now, that still is not as good. You still got to take a video game and make it into a movie, you know? And it's just like, why is a live action movie better than a novel? You know, is it better? A lot of people would argue. Usually you read the novel and then you watch the movie, and the novel was better anyways. Yep. So why is it we're always putting live action movie on this pedestal that we have to, like, oh, if only our thing could be that someday, you know? I get it if it's just like a monetary thing. Like, maybe that's where you think you'll make the most money is from that. Sure. Because a movie is the easiest thing to consume, right? Live action movie, easiest form of consumption. Video games, you have to do something. It requires participation. Sure. Books, you have to read and think, you know? Like, so a movie, just sit down, you know, and then it's not a cartoon, so you don't turn off anyone. So it's just like, I guess that. But that's just like the like common denominator. It's not like making the best.
Yeah. Well, I like seeing what I read and like envisioned and how I pictured it. I like to see how someone else envisioned what they read and brought it to like the screen. Like, you know, the Wheel of Time, John. We reviewed Wheel of Time on Popcast on the Rocks, year and a half ago, whatever it was. And I think I really liked it. I think you had mixed feelings, and I think Andrew is somewhere in between us. But I mean, but it was still cool to see it brought to life, and you know, and talk about it and debate it and review it. So yeah, I think there's some of that. I think it's just easy for people. It's like, I don't want to read a book, but I'd love to see the movie. Like, The Lord of the Rings are a great example. Like, Tolkien's books can be a little dense for I mean, there's like high fantasy, right? And they're older, so they can be a little dense and hard to get through. But then you can just sit down and watch the movies, which are just like incredible and still hold up to this day.
And those movies are probably just as long as some of the books. You get the extended versions in there, you're like,
they're long, but
yeah, baby.
I mean, I'm a fast reader, but I can never get through a Lord of the Rings novel before I could watch a movie. No way. So, but I hear you, JP. They're long for sure.
During COVID, we bought the extended versions, and I made my wife watch them all. I tried to get through them in one weekend, and she's like, I cannot sit through another one of these movies.
That's hard. Yeah.
I was having a blast. You know, what else are we going to do? It's COVID. You know, just sit there and...
Oh, sure.
And I'm just like, he broke his toe. He kicked that bucket. You know, just... Right. And he just...
Yep. We've definitely marathoned them before.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it's...
For sure.
Enjoy it. Yes. Adaptations, they're going to keep happening. I think One Piece seems like a weird one to choose.
Yeah.
That one's really... It's really out there. I don't know.
And there's so much material. That was the other thing. I was like, it's the longest running show, and you're doing
one of the weirdest and longest anime to turn into a live action.
Yeah.
Unless you just like, okay, we're going to skip the first Well, intro and then skip
Well,
season.
I'm sure
18
the
seasons
idea
of
would
Rain.
be if it's successful, then you have a lot of content. You can keep going for a long time. So
Yeah, I suppose.
Just I don't know.
Like a Demon Slayer live action. Now we're talking.
That I will say too, I give Netflix a lot of crap for making these things and like all this, but despite fans' protests, they've made live action adaptations of manga and anime for a long time in Japan. Japan has made them. There's a Full Metal Alchemist. There's, Rurouni Kenshin. I don't pay attention to what they all are, but I just know there are a bunch. And generally, when they poll people, they just rather it didn't happen. But they make enough money. People's curiosity is there enough that they're going well, maybe, and try it. So
yeah. I watched a couple episodes of the live action of Spike and
Bebop. Yeah,
Bebop. Thank you. It was like interesting. It was kind of fun, but I didn't like it enough to stick with it. I don't know.
Fair.
Let's see. I don't know if I don't really think I reviewed it per se, but I just show everybody on the next volume of Zom 100. So this is volume 6 that I haven't quite started yet, but I have it here ready to go.
Cool.
Volume 5 was the one that kind of, it stalled for me. So I kind of taken a break. It's not really like a great, it was good. Maybe it needed a little bit of a lull, but, it made me stop reading it for a minute.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
Speaking of, since you're talking about manga, have you gotten those next chapters of Heavenly Delusion yet?
Oh, Jesus. No. So
I
had in my calendar when that was supposed to come out. I don't know if they pushed the date back or if I read it wrong.
Oh.
So the release date now is literally the day after we're supposed to talk about it on this show is when Heavenly Delusion Volume 6 comes out.
Bummer.
So I'm not sure what I'm going to do exactly. I might, if this works for you, we'll do a Hell's Paradise episode the day that we had that scheduled with Tony. Yeah. And then just the two of us later in the week do a shorter episode.
Yeah, I could probably do that. Yeah, that would work. For sure. I'm actually going to wait and watch. I'm going to wait. I still haven't watched the finale. So I watched the episode, the second to last episode, the penultimate episode where you had given me a heads up, like, I'm hearing this episode's going to be pretty like intense. And it was, but I'm not going to say anything more than that.
Before we talk any more about Hell's Paradise, is this like, should I watch this? Is this on the list?
This one's Heavenly Delusion.
Heavenly Delusion. And
sorry,
yes, you should.
Hold on.
Hell's Paradise, yes, you should.
Hell's Paradise and Heavenly Delusion. I need to watch both of these.
Yeah.
Hell's Paradise.
Paradise.
Oh, Heavenly Delusion. I already wrote it down.
Perfect.
Okay, fantastic.
I would prioritize, if it was me, Heavenly Delusion.
I like it a little better than Hell's Paradise. They're very different. Frankly.
They're very different. Yes.
And then just a quick interjection. I heard you guys, this was an off message text, but Undead Murder Farce.
Yes.
My brother's been talking about this, and he says this show is pretty dope for what it is. Is it good? Like, I only see 3 episodes so far out right now.
Yep, I've seen the first 2 episodes, and I'm planning to keep going. So
Crunchyroll?
Yep. I share my premium.
It's one of those things, like, I just, if I can have, if we can have Jujutsu Kaisen and Undead Murder Farce and Zom 100, and I can basically watch one of those a week, like, I can manage that fine and keep up on some shows. So that's what I'm rocking at the moment.
Cool. I'll have to add it to the list. Well, anyway, John, what I was going to say is Heavenly Delusion. I haven't watched the finale episode yet, and I think I might wait until, like, right around when the copy comes out and watch it right fresh before our I feel like it's gonna be pretty wild. So
it's good. Yeah, I'm really interested how we're going to get this lined up. So, like, because I don't know where the manga is going to stop versus where the show's going to stop. Like, I just don't know how that's going.
Good question.
We'll see.
Yeah.
if I have to, I'm planning to buy the show.
Sure.
It needs to come out first.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
In somewhere in Southeast Asia, so I can buy it on eBay. So.
Right.
Let's see. I don't have it to hold it up because I am reading it digitally, but there's a few different things are reading digitally. So Dandadan is a manga that I've been reading for a while. Volume 4 just came out. I think I've talked about on the show. It's really fun. There's like a kid that believes in the paranormal and thinks like aliens aren't real, and a kid that thinks that aliens are real but doesn't really believe in the paranormal. And they meet up and try to prove each other wrong. And well, both things are real and all kinds of crazy stuff happens. It's very zany. It's very out there, but the art is excellent. It's got a lot of fluidity to it. Cool. It's just a bonkers over the top fun thing. And they base all their like spirits and aliens and stuff on like, real lore or whatever, real urban legends and stuff like that. So that's Dandadan. Okay, we're gonna raunchy now, right? We're gonna talk about two things that are raunchy. It's good Andrea's not here to hear about it.
Andrea hates raunchy stuff.
Yeah. So first is please put them back on Takamine-san. Really ridiculous premise to this as well. Basically, well, so this girl has the ability called like something Virgin Road, and essentially, if she removes an undergarment, she can undo something in time. So she's like the perfect student, and so but no one can tell. So she makes a mistake during a speech, and whoop. Take the panties off and undo that, and no one knows. Can't tell.
I feel like all women have superpowers when they're taking undergarments off.
Maybe it's true. Like, that's true, and so this is based. That's very true. They're taking this very literally here right. In this case.
Like win an argument.
Well,
shut your husband up. Lots of good options to you can do lots of that particular skill.
There's some sort of I forget because it's a couple volumes back now. There's some sort of deal like if you see her, I don't know, doing this or something, you're able to then like see through the guise. You can tell when she does it and reverses something. And that happens to this one other guy, and so she kind of threatens him in a way and sort of makes him be her servant. So he has to take on the responsibility of like always carrying around and providing extra pairs of undergarments for her and having to put them on her in the most ludicrous situations when something goes wrong and need to redo it. That's the setup.
That's his literal job.
Well, I mean, he doesn't get paid except that he gets to do it, I guess,
He's like a high school student.
Yep. And in like, typical manga anime fashion, he doesn't like chomp at the bit for this opportunity. He's all like, no, how can, whatever. It's like, dude,
please don't make me do that job. No.
Yeah. So, I finished volume 6 of that, and it's still a lot of fun.
Okay.
It's not kid friendly, but it's a lot of fun.
Well,
and then RawHero, I tried that volume 1. I got through the half of the 4th volume before I decided it was just too ridiculous. Okay. The art is good for it, and like it's got a pretty zany premise, but there was a kind of a line that was it just crossed it. It's too ridiculous. So I guess I don't know. If anyone wants to know about RawHero, I'll let them know. But otherwise, it was recommended to me. It's by the same person that does, I think, Prison School. So I heard people like that, so I thought I'd give this a try.
Don't ask, JP.
What's that?
Don't ask.
I'm looking through like the most popular mangas right now on Crunchyroll, and just like it's so weird. Like I don't know why I don't know. It's just like 30 of them are just like one girl on the magazine or like on the cover, just gigantic tits just popping out. Like, oh, I have silver hair girl, redheaded chick.
That's weird that you don't understand why that's.
Well, and then every popular manga series that I'm seeing is Demon Slayer. You know, just kill the zombies, and it's all just all this other stuff.
Yeah,
and it's just like, why isn't there more? Why don't we just? Oh, I guess nobody watches that. They just like to read it.
Well, you know, a lot of it, plenty of it gets adapted into stuff. You know, there's lots of like harem manga that becomes anime and all that sort of thing. Oh yeah. So,
Reborn as a vending machine. Now I wander the dungeon.
I've heard of that one. I've heard that's actually supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah, it's the part of the 2023 seasonal sampler.
Yeah. I might check that out when it comes. Is that out already, JP, or not yet?
Looks 1 season, 3 episodes on Crunchyroll.
Right. Maybe we'll see.
My tiny senpai.
I'll cut into my Attack on Titan time.
I feel like there's just so much. Like, if there's like literally anything you want to watch in any category, you have it. Yeah.
So a little bit of the same issue, just generally with streaming services. Just, you know, it's like there's so much to watch, prioritizing. It's a little overwhelming. So you just kind of, I feel like, pick some and go with it. But
yeah, I wonder if this is going to be a thing for the foreseeable. Like, will this always be the case? Because I do think in a lot of situations, the money is going to dry up in places. Like, it can't sustain all this stuff.
Right.
And I mean, look, right now we have the strike in Hollywood with the writers and actors. I don't know, like, just I don't want to be like we're, you know, I want to take for granted that all the stuff we have for options. But yes, it is overwhelming, and you can't see it all. You just you know. Like you say, this is anime only. If you do anime only on Crunchyroll only, you'd have more than you could possibly ever watch for things that you find entertaining. So you just you know, never feel pressure because of like this show or anything. Like, gotta watch something. You know, we do that with Andrea on the main show too. Like, just it shouldn't feel like work. You know, we gotta.
Well, John, my assumption is with your new lineup on this on your anime show, obviously at some point we're going to go viral. We can all quit our day jobs, and watch anime and pod about it just like all the time. Then I can watch a ton. Then I'll watch everything. Then
it would be a lot of things. Yeah. See, but then I'd be so critical then. Like, I'm already getting pretty critical, but I'd be getting like, nope, all over the place.
Well, then we're professional weebs at that point. So
I guess,
Yep, I'd have to turn this into my dojo.
Yep.
A couple people in chat. Francesco, been a long time since you've been in chat, so welcome back. And MJ as well. Glad you're here. We're talking anime. MJ, tell your one follower to get in here. You said you had a couple people that are anime fans in your chat. So, all right. Okay. So I don't want to keep boring you guys too long with these things, but I'm like, well, because Andrea is maybe going to be here at 9, so
that's what I heard.
A little bit of discussion.
Well, if we want to talk about things that piss me off about adaptions. We could talk about the Mortal Kombat adaptation from the video game to the shitty live release last year or 2 years ago. Whenever that came out.
This is kind of an adjacent topic, but let's have it, JP.
Okay, so the trailer for Mortal Kombat, like the live action, like the reboot, like, oh yes, they're finally going to do it right this time. You know, it's like the old movies were pretty gangster with how they kept it pretty straight and close to the video games. Yeah. The second one, not so much, you know, a bunch of recasts and just like, man, this feels weird. And the CGI was just so bad, but also so good. It just grew on you 20 years later.
Okay.
But this new movie, it's like, hey, we have all these characters that we can choose from. Snorts a line of coke. How about we create a new character that nobody's ever heard before, and he gets to be the main character with all the OP powers?
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
And as soon as this guy unnamed, I don't even remember his name because he was so forgettable. he gets to be the good. Like I was out.
Did you just recently see this? That this is like passionate for you, like, or is
when
this,
you talk about video game
this came a couple years
adaptations,
ago?
He's been holding this grudge for some time, John.
Yeah, I've been holding. I have these pockets of hate that are just. It keeps my stomach nice and insulated. I just hold on to them until I'm ready to let them go. I also have a fear of confrontation. Until it boils over. But it triggered in me when you said the video game adaptions.
Yeah. Yep.
There's so many great video games, like if the fighting games for the campaigns that they have, like the Mortal Kombat stories have been fantastic the last couple of years for like the last couple of games they've had. I've just watched on YouTube instead of like actually playing the game or watching people play. I just like watch the progression of the story or the Injustice timeline for like the
right.
that,
DC
like,
stuff.
The DC stuff when Superman kills freaking Shazam, just blisters him through the head.
Just kidding. I'm not gonna watch it.
There's no spoilers for anything over 10 years old. But I mean, stuff like that. The stories for I'll hold off. That's like the only crazy thing that happened in those games. But the stories that they've been telling, like I could definitely see those. Like instead of a movie, a series would be fantastic. If you could get a couple people just you could tell so many mini stories in those type of universes that they have.
Yeah.
But the movie was just so hyped and such a huge letdown that I was so sad. And
I thought there was a lot good about that movie, other than that, really. I
remembered being so sad that was the movie that we got, and it was very polarizing. Some people were like, "Oh wow, cool fatalities, very nostalgic," and then like other people just like, "Well, there's really no story here. They kind of fight, they don't fight, they fight, and then it's over." And I was hoping for more of a story because they already did the cool fatalities and stay true to the game. Sweet, let's tell a cool story. Maybe this can catch a little bit more than just a one-off nostalgia money grab. That's how it felt.
There's a lot of video games that would make, with a reasonable hand, would make a great movie.
Oh yeah.
Mortal Kombat is not one of the obvious picks.
No.
It's just,
You want to hear my top 2 list of video games that have been made into TV shows or movies?
okay, go for it.
Ooh, I like
Number
that.
1, Castlevania, which we've talked about on podcast on the Rocks. Which you've seen that, JP, on Netflix, the Castlevania series.
Dude, we watched it in one day at my brother's house. We were just like, yeah, this is so good.
There's a spin-off coming out in, I don't know, sometime in the next year.
Soon. I'm waiting patiently.
Number 1 video game to movie adaptation, Silent Hill.
The original? Or is there?
I like it. I
Silent Hill?
I saw it in theater.
I saw the original one.
Yeah.
So good.
I never played the original Silent Hill, but the movie was very scary, and the whole parallel universe thing. I really did not like the monsters that you shine the light on and they do the thing.
Right. I didn't play the original Silent Hill either, but I played Silent Hill like 4 for PS2, and I used to play it like by myself at night in the dark when I was in college. That shit is scary. That is scary. Like I'm just like, I gotta turn this off. All right, I'm freaking myself out. So you gotta watch yourself.
Are they making an Alan Wake anything?
And they're making a sequel.
They're making a new game for it. Okay.
Yeah, it looks great.
I would say that has the premise for like probably a pretty good movie.
Yes.
The way they made the game, the original one, not the second one, but the first one was same thing. Like played in the dark. It was the first time I had headphones for my Xbox, so I had the full immersive, and the only thing you do is shine the light to fight people off, and then they tell a story kind of like an author would. Like you play a chapter in the game, it does like a little summary at the end, and then it does the intro, kind of covering what you've already seen. What does this do? Blah blah blah. And I thought that was the best single player game I played in a long time. Like there wasn't too many games I was thinking about for like, wow, that was so much fun. Like
I've heard it hasn't aged well. Like I did pick up the Alan Wake remastered because I never managed to play it back in the day, but I've heard it hasn't aged well. So I might just play 2.
Okay.
I will say, if you just think about it, instead of like the combat mechanics and stuff, just play it on like easy mode and just play through the story and just enjoy it. Then I think you'd much like it.
It's cool.
Better.
Well, speaking of horror, have you guys heard of Junji Ito?
No, I don't think so.
So Junji Ito is a prolific horror manga creator. He is like, if you look up best horror manga or probably even anime, his stuff is going to be on the list.
Okay.
And there's a couple classics that we have, and Ashley's read one or two of them. I never got around to reading them. I picked up this new one. It's like small, really easily digestible, and it was brand new, so I thought I would try it. My first Junji Ito manga. And I was pretty disappointed. Now, I've come up with a theory since then that maybe he kind of worked really hard on a certain number of books that were really well received, and then just started pumping stuff out. I don't know, people maybe. I don't know. I'm just surprised that this felt as clunky as it did. Now there's some very scary art, just saw a few things from it and stuff, but there's some really creepy art to it and stuff. So that is definitely the best part. But the story was kind of it's almost like it was trying to be it wasn't deep at all for most of the whole thing. And then they tried to shoehorn a message in at the end. And it just wasn't particularly interesting. It wasn't all that super original. I feel like this could have gone somewhere interesting in maybe a series or something longer, but it didn't. And so yeah, I enjoyed it enough, and mostly for some of the scary art. Yeah. But
what's the English name of that, John?
This is Black Paradox.
Black Paradox. Okay.
Yep. Sorry, I was holding upside down, I think.
Oh, no worries. Oh, and yeah. Okay.
When you're holding upside down, it looked like, oh yeah, that's Japanese. I can't read that.
So okay. All right, cool. I got one more manga I'm talking about, and then we'll just get into Chainsaw, and then we'll get our thoughts in, and we'll see if Andrea gets in.
Get into Chainsaw.
I actually thought we were.
Did I say Chainsaw Man?
Kaisen, but
sorry. Yeah, I was looking at this thing that says Chainsaw Man on it.
I love Chainsaw Man. I mean, don't get me wrong, but
wait, hold on, Phil. Have you watched any Attack on Titan since we've last talked?
Yes, but I am coming up. I'm gonna save my thoughts for next pod because I'm almost at the end of season 1. I'm like 4 episodes away. So,
okay, once you get to the end of season 1, you have to wait 7 years before you can watch season 2. Tell me how you feel.
I might. Okay. I mean, I don't know. Season 1's been a little bit of a slog, so I may want to take a break. We'll see. Okay. Well, I thought
season 2 it picks right back up. Okay, I have to go get my wife some water. I'll be right back. Okay. Continue. Talk about your manga. I'm listening.
Okay,
don't worry.
I will do. I promise. I will do. All right, Phil. Have you seen at all either of the Full Metal Alchemist series?
I have seen probably a half dozen episodes of Brotherhood.
Okay.
I feel like I got to the part where shortly after that one little girl gets transformed into like a really sad, depressing demon dog. And then I was like, I don't know what to think of this. But that was earlier when I was really starting on really kind of new to anime. I think that I wasn't as prepared for some of the disturbing imagery that anime will have at times. And I think now that I've watched so much more since then, I could go back to it and it'd be like no big thing.
Okay. I mean, at least you've seen that part because that's a meme that gets used now. So
yes, I have seen that.
That was a big reference point for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that creator has a new series that just started, Demons of the Shadow Realm.
Oh, so
cool. She's did a really good job, I think, with Full Metal Alchemist, and now it's on to this. And I think it's a really promising start. I thought it was interesting because I have twins, and this book immediately starts out with the birth of twins.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And so that was fun.
Yeah.
It's some familiar things in here, but with a pretty varied twist on it so far, and I really don't know where things are going to go. Mm-hmm. I like that our main protagonist is not like some wimp, you know. He obviously has to like train and get better and stuff like that, but he's competent, and
the main protagonist
filling out
is the person with braids.
No,
woman or a girl.
This person on the cover here, who looks pretty feminine, to be frank, in the cover here, but that's a dude.
That is a dude. Okay.
So,
okay.
Yep.
There have been so many times that I thought that they're like a male character or a male character is female. Many times.
Sure. I mean, here's another shot, kind of hero shot of him.
Cool. I like
this other page.
I like the artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like really clean. Really clean.
Yes. Yep. It's very, very like Full Metal Alchemist. I would argue. You can see that sensibility all over in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's there's only one volume out right now.
Okay.
And Demons of the Shadow Realm. I recommend. I am almost certain someday this will be turned into an anime.
Awesome. Okay. Cool.
I would be shocked if it didn't happen.
Yeah. I'm excited about it.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, since JP had to duck off and Mike's not on yet, and we're not sure if he will be, and Andrea's not on yet. Do you want to now? Do you want to run through my thoughts on season 1, the movie, and the first episode of season 2, or should we just it's not a big deal either way?
Yeah, no, that's fine for sure. Yeah, we may as well. So. You get to listen to us ramble on about it last week, right? Or at least a bunch of it. Mm-hmm. How do you fall compared to the rest of us? Was the movie like Mike thought the movie was way better than the series? Do you agree with that kind of thing?
No. I don't know if it was. I don't think it's way better. I think it's equally as good, but it's like very different, right? Like I liked how they did it. It was a different take on it. It was like a flashback, different main character altogether. I'm assuming that character will become important in the future. Excited to see how that all plays out. But no, I loved season 1. Loved it. I think one of my favorite things about Jujutsu Kaisen, and it extends into season 2, even though there's been a lot of differences between season 1 and season 2, is like I love the pacing. I'm never bored. I'm never thinking things are going too slow. It's like, and I'll have to talk to JP about this when I talk about Attack on Titan, but that's like one of my criticisms of Attack on Titan. Even though there's lots of action happening, I feel like things are moving so slowly. Where with JJK, it's it might be just me on now, but that's okay. With JJK, it's like just I don't know, just the way they pace out the episodes and the seasons is just I always feel like we're moving forward at a pretty good, pretty rapid pace. Kind of reminds me of like Mob Psycho 100 crossed with My Hero Academia crossed with X-Men First Class. It's just the art of like the cursed spirits and stuff is very similar. I feel like to the like ghosts and stuff in Mob Psycho 100. The school and the ensemble cast reminds me of My Hero Academia, but without the weird annoying characters like Bakugo and the horny little grape guy.
Aw.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know his name, but
I forget,
yes.
but he's the worst. Yeah. And Bakugo, like, he's a compelling character, but he's just so annoying. He just is so like angsty and yells all the time. I just can't handle it. So I really like all that stuff. It's just the right amount of goofy and funny to balance out the really dark stuff that's going on. So like some of this stuff with Yuji is just very funny. He's just, and just the way he is, like, he was told basically he's like, like got this cursed spirit inside him and he might have to like be executed eventually, or he will be. And he just like takes it in stride and he's just like cool with it. I mean, he's not cool with it, but he just like is like, well, I guess I'm just gonna roll with this now. So he's like my favorite character. I mean, it's pretty low hanging fruit. I think they make him really easy to cheer for, easy to like support. And then after him in the first season, my second favorite character is is it Inumaki, the curse speech user. I think that the him only saying, you know, certain things to try to keep from using his ability is really funny, and then when he actually uses his ability, it's really powerful and it's really cool. I just like how they do that with like the sound reverb, whatever they do, and it just, I don't know, whenever he has to break that out, I'm just like, yes.
Yeah, the effect is really good for sure.
Yeah. And then Panda is obviously a fan favorite. One of my literal favorite scenes from the movie is when Panda kind of like comes out of like a puff of smoke with the crazy glowing eyes when he's attacking Ghetto. Oh, I was just like, I had to rewind that and watch it like 5 times. I was like, this is some just badass shit right here. That was really cool. Let's see.
Yeah.
Really like Toto and his bromance with Yuji. That was an amazing like little couple episodes where then they like became friends, and the whole like J-Law reference was hilarious. And then they started fighting the environmental curse spirit together, which I totally called. I was like, these two are going to fight that curse spirit or that other curse spirit together, the environmental one, and it was going to be awesome. And it was. I loved the old principal when he busted out that electric guitar. I was like, this guy is harboring, even before he busted out a guitar, I was like, this guy has some cool, like, ability. Cool sorcerer ability. I don't know what it is. He's going to be super powerful, which I'm not so sure about that. But the electric guitar, just stellar. Really fun stuff. Let's see.
So would you agree with Mike that his thought was that a lot of these characters were really abrasive right from the beginning, and he didn't like a lot of them immediately. It took a while on some of them. And did you find that as well, or?
I didn't. No, I didn't really have this. I mean, I think I forget her name, the chick with the hammer and the nails.
Yeah.
Not Maki.
No.
Doesn't.
So
I mean,
the K
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's the girl who starts the other first year with Yuji. I think the show made her into this stereotypical like
Nobara.
Thank you. They made her into kind of this I feel like there's always a character, like especially I feel like there's a female character in a lot of these similar types of shows where I don't know, and I guess I don't know how to describe it. They like make her seem like personality wise like off-putting until you grow to love them, but they don't need to do that. I think her character is really cool, but they make her seem like it's like they think they have to be tough at first to like get respect. I don't know. So she, I guess, wasn't my favorite at first, and I like Megumi, but I don't like dig his cursed spirit powers that much, like being able to call on like these
dogs, wolves,
these dogs, and the fox, and I guess they're cool. I guess I don't really understand how that's different than like Shikigami user, like Ghetto. They're like they like eat the spirits, where he has like makes like pacts with the spirits. So I think they're different.
Yeah.
But it's not my favorite of the powers. He doesn't seem all that powerful compared to like Yuji and some of the other ones from that same grade in school, but.
I mean, he gets like a kind of upgrade towards the end of the season, if I recall.
Yeah.
You know, kind of. Yeah, I mean, to me is very. I guess it's hard for me with him because he's the less cool Aki from Chainsaw Man. You know, Aki does the dog symbol with because he's made a pact, and then a giant like wolf comes in. Devours, you know.
Oh wait, that's from Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, well, so
right.
You know,
yes.
So we get Megumi here, who has the dogs. They're like dogs, you know, and then you have Aki, who also I don't know, seems like a similar kind of attitude.
It's like the straight man.
Yeah,
right. The main character.
Yeah.
Yep. Because Denji is very similar to Yuji, I feel like. They are cut from the same cloth, and then Aki and Megumi are cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, for sure. And that's like, I know some people talked about how like some of these things are so similar, but there are always enough that really starts to distinguish them from one another. Even if they take, there's a blueprint that's involved that you build off of.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Then you didn't, let's see, there was one other thing I was going to mention, I was shooting off of what Mike said about someone. Do you think that, okay, so Mike's argument was kind of that Itadori was a bit of a Mary Sue, and like he's just like badass right away and stuff like that. And my argument against that was, well, but he has to deal with having this curse inside him,
right?
And he's got to always kind of like barter with him and not let him out. And then Mike's argument is, well, we know it's going to resolve well in the end or something, basically. Like even if he goes, but the show could have him go out of control enough that
sure.
he kills someone important.
100%. Yeah. I don't I think sometimes that's okay. Sometimes that's okay. I mean, he does have a cursed spirit living inside him, a really powerful one. And then, I think if he had to work too hard for his training, it would feel very similar to Deku from My Hero Academia. But it's been the whole first season with him getting up to a point where he can even fight at all. And that was like a bit of a grind. So I wouldn't particularly prefer that myself, but
sure.
I mean, I guess, yeah, he came in pretty powerful, but again, yeah, he's got a lot to learn though. He like doesn't know anything, Gojo still had to teach him like, here, sit here with these like puppets or whatever they're
That's
called.
True.
Those imbued,
Yeah.
And like learn to control this. Like he still had to do some training and stuff, and so this is different.
Yep. Okay.
He's not here to defend himself. Perfect.
It's 9:02 now. I'm hoping Andrea will get in here soon, but just before we move on to season 2, do you have any other big thoughts on season 1 that you didn't get to?
I think I kind of covered everything that I had for season 1. I just loved it. I binged it so hard. So great. The movie was awesome as well. I loved the story. It was really sad. It was so tragic and just really, really beautiful though. Like his friendship with Rika and how that all transpired. And it's just really emotional, which, that's what good media will do, right? Is make you feel a certain way about things. And, whether it's animated or real or not real or a story, it doesn't matter. And so that was just, so good. I loved it, and then and then it was a perfect lead. And I feel like obviously they did this on purpose with the movie to go in between season 1 and season 2, because then you're already prepared for season 2. Like we already know that Gojo and Geto were like friends of some level, from the movie. And it isn't until season 2 you find out how close they were, but or how close it seems like they were. But I'm so excited to find out how this all happened. What transpired to make Geto like turn. So
yep. Yeah, okay, so let's get into it. We did talk about episode 1 last week, but if we have to dip back into that, I definitely kind of skimmed through the first 3 episodes again today, just because I kind of had a few questions or things that I wasn't quite clear on. But specifically, episodes 2 and 3, we can go over where we want with this. And JP, what do you think of 2 and 3? Like, what stands out? What must be said?
I want to see Gojo shoot his finger space energy and actually vaporize the shit out of something. That I thought that was going to be the coolest freaking scene in the whole thing, when he just holds a finger up, everything comes to him. He's like, bang, he's like, I thought that was actually going to work this time.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool to see these characters not fully fleshed out, like they're still learning. Gojo
It was an important scene. Yeah.
Very important scene, that they're not the most all powerful. Like I've been saying this entire time, like, oh yeah, he's the strongest there ever has been and always will be. What a cool premise for a show. Bah, ha, ha, ha. Completely wrong.
But see, you're not completely wrong, because you were talking with what we were talking in the present, where this is, we're back in the past. So it's fun because we, whereas we do know some things where they go, there's a lot of stuff here that, it's unknown. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then I've just been enjoying the fight scenes have been good.
Brutal.
Decisions, yeah, very brutal. I cannot believe how much. Like, he takes the first one through the chest. It's like, oh, don't worry, I used all my curse energy to like heal myself.
Right. Yeah.
But then as they're like doing the thinking in their head, like, what kind of energy? What is he using? Oh, he's not using any cursed energy. He's not, he's not a demon. He doesn't. He's just using these items that, of course, completely counter all of his abilities and stuff like that. Which I thought was kind of convenient, but I don't know, they do a good job of kind of making the backstory for this assassin guy. Like, I don't really care what happens. I want to go bet at the racetracks and then lose, and then, oh no, I have to go work. It seems like that's the only motivation he has is like, oh, I didn't win, so I actually have to go kill these people and get my money.
Right. That's what JP had the same thought originally in episode 1. I was thinking like maybe this dude seems like bad news at the very end of season 1. I was like, so the way he carries himself, his bearing, he seems like somebody you don't want to mess with. And then I was thinking maybe this is the guy who like somehow corrupts Ghetto or something like that. But now after seeing this last episode, I don't think he is. Like, this dude doesn't even seem like a prototypical villain with like internal motivations. He's like more of a hired gun. I mean, he's but I think he also has some secrets, so maybe. But anyway, let's welcome Andrea.
Yeah, how's it going, Andrea? Thanks for getting in here. Oh no, I can't hear you.
Have you even ever podcasted before, Andrea?
And she comes in from the top rope, the WWE Andrea.
You're still muted.
The button's pressed on your thing.
Okay, so then...
one more time.
What? I unmuted you now. Nope.
Yep. Yes.
Yes. No.
Oh,
yes.
hey,
Yes.
there we go.
There it is.
Oh.
Oh, she's back. She's here. Thank God.
God.
So, okay. All right. we got it figured out. All right. So, okay, we're talking about. We just got into season 2 discussion. We held off, Andrea. We stalled, so we got to season 2 here now. What
was there some AOT talk?
No, not really. We're saving it. I'm almost done with season 1, so we're saving it for next pod episode.
Okay. All right.
Phil's keeping it super loyal, and he's only going to watch the seasons and then take the year-long breaks in between each one to get the feel of it.
Yeah, no. I mean, he likes the lived experience, so.
Totally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you play the World of Warcraft? How they came up? What is it even called?
No, I've never played WoW. No.
So they re-released it from the beginning, and then
classic.
WoW Classic, but then introduced the patches at the same time interval, so you have the same amount of time as like when it was previously released.
Okay.
That's what you're doing to Attack on Titan. That's the long round point.
I'm not actually going to do that, but it's.
Yeah, you can just the points.
You wouldn't want me to actually do that, JP? I could be dead inside
of your joke, and then I'm going to explain the whole thing back to you because no one knows.
So you interpreted this all wrong. Let me tell you exactly how you're supposed to think about this.
Exactly.
All right, Andrea. Well, you just joined us. What do you think of episodes 2 and 3?
I had a little bit of a struggle with episode 2, but I really felt into 3. Like I really.
What were your struggles with 2?
2 just felt like we were getting from one place to another. Like it wasn't badly done, and it was great because obviously like we were introduced to key new people, but it just didn't feel like we were introduced to key new people. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like there was no like splashy exciting, and 3 really felt like we're going to amp up the stakes. Like we're going to sneak in like a low key episode with 2. And then episode 3 was just like, well, bam, things mean things now.
Yeah.
Like, so it just, So I just, retrospectively too was very important, but watching through it, I was like, good, but okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because, like you say, retrospectively, because really in 2, the importance is, meeting this Toji character.
Yeah, of course.
That's a gambler here. And then, of course, getting to know and see Riko a little bit in school with her friends, sort of thing. And
Developing
then we get
an attachment.
Yeah, and seeing like, okay, well, maybe we, because I, anyways, was surprised that she was so willing and gung ho to just be assimilated. And
I feel like they had to spend an episode really fleshing out her character to make you care about her, because she's only in the show for 3 episodes. So you gotta get it in there quick to make it that more compelling when she gets sniped at the end of season 3.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like I said, retrospectively 2 is very important. It was just like watching through it was like, this is good, but
definitely a mellow episode compared to the 1 and 3.
Exactly. It was more just like, what else? What's happening?
But they threw in some cool things, I think, just to kind of get you through. The fight against the other Shikigami sorcerer was cool.
Yes, the cloner.
It told us that Geto has good hand-to-hand combat in addition to his powers. And then they threw in some funniness with the Gojo going into the classroom with all the chibi
oh my god, I love it,
dancing and doing
the teacher gives the number.
Hilarious.
Yes, that was really great and like so on brand for Gojo.
So there were some really good, fun scenes in that. But I agree, it was more of a traveling episode, fleshing out characters.
Yes.
Well, it gets you to care about them a little bit more before.
Yep. 100%.
Well, and it was, I think it was also like interesting for me because, I was sitting there waiting for a little bit more about Geto and we just didn't get it. So I was just sort of like feeling like these first episodes were really about like fleshing him out. And really understanding like why his viewpoint developed the way it has. And these episodes have not played out the way I thought they have.
No.
Like they really haven't focused on him much at all. Like now we're getting into like a completely new character, Toji, or, like this last episode, we got a little bit more about Gojo's background as well. And so it's just like, this hasn't played out the way I thought it would. And I'm okay with it because it's so well done, but I just keep watching these episodes thinking something different is happening than what actually happens.
Yeah, I agree. If this was the beginning of the series, these first 3 episodes, and someone told me that like, oh, Geto, he becomes like the big bad guy in like a couple seasons, I'd have been like, get out of here. No way.
Yeah.
Come on. They're pulling my leg. I have a hard time reconciling how they're going to make. I really enjoy his character, and I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not going how I thought it either.
Let's be real here. Geto is the hottie, not Gojo. So all you out there, they're all falling over Gojo.
Ooh.
It's Geto.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Geto is bae.
Okay. Like, I'm gonna back you up a second because, like, both and.
Sure.
Porque no los dos. Like,
well, I hate to break it. I have thought, I don't know how the fangirls are going to take it, but maybe they're an item.
Well, you can believe that it's been shipped. You can believe that it has been made into an item.
Like a Dumbledore Grindelwald situation here.
Right.
I was going to ask you, John, I don't know how in Japanese media same-sex relationships are generally received, or if they can be obvious about it, or they have to kind of be really hidden about it, or just hint at it, or what?
Do you mean in regular everyday life or in anime? Because in anime, obviously, ain't no thing.
I meant more in anime, but I guess in everyday life too. I know it's more conservative culture there than in the US, but
yeah, in the anime. Anime is always kind of I see it often as a rebellious thing.
Sure. Like it's a playground.
Anime and manga is, it's prevalent you know, so it's like not everybody is, you know, sitting there every day watching anime. It's not like everybody does that. But it is, you go around into any big city and you see it. And so, but you can kind of feel all the time in different shows the sort of how it's so unlike regular everyday Japanese life that it's just gotta be. I mean, but that's art everywhere, right? Art everywhere can be an act of rebellion or of creating counterculture or something like that.
Absolutely.
And definitely anime and manga is a source for that as well. So
yeah, I think of it as like a playground. You just, like, anime is just like this unlimited imaginative space.
Yeah.
And, you know, anything and everything can be normalized, from, you know, what type of relationship you have to, like, fighting cursed creatures and spirits and that kind of stuff.
100%.
Well, if that were to be the case, that would definitely break poor Kasumi Miwa's heart. I was looking at, I forget her name. She's the blue-haired woman with the slanted bang cut. I remember in season one, she was all over.
Yep.
Yeah, she's so.
Yep, that is true. Well, maybe, you know, who knows? So clearly they're clearly not together in season 2. So.
Yep.
Who knows?
Yep. So, you know, if we might as well talk about some of the big things here. So, because that is the question: how does Geto become what he does? How does he flip 180 from the character that is telling Gojo, you know, preaching to him about like being more compassionate and caring about people, to the one that's like, I'm done with you all. Like, we're better than you. We're the ones that should be in charge. And I don't know what it could possibly be, but I almost feel like there needs to be some sort of deal with the devil, selling your soul, something dramatic that Geto gives up, that makes him such a different person in order to save Gojo. Because when we end episode 3, it looks like Gojo is done for. How could he not be? Basically, it will feel cheap if somehow he can just get up and like he's okay. I feel like if we're gonna go through that and we're gonna see this happen to him, something dramatic has to happen in order for him to be saved, and it can't be consequence free.
Yeah,
we need sacrifice.
Yeah.
No matter what that looks like.
Yeah. I agree. I also, it just seems like if like Geto's the one that saves him, I don't know. Gojo's character is just so, you know, he's not obviously a very humble guy. Like in season 2, he's just so self-assured. Like he can handle any issue ever. And it's just like if he had to get his ass saved, granted by his best friend, who's also really powerful at some point, then it's just like, how do you become this such like a overconfident person when you're an adult? It's like you almost were killed. Like, how are you so confident? But
well, times have changed, you know. I mean, he's already like obviously overconfident. It's probably his downfall here as a kid or whatever, as a student.
Right.
But as JP pointed out earlier, we saw him attempt his other ability and that didn't work out. In season 1, we see him take a high level demon and just engulf him like nothing in his like infinite void thing. He's not doing these things because he can't presumably can't do them yet.
Learning,
and so when people are already speak of him like he's just the best,
right?
Like his friend kind of, hey, you maybe need to be a little more humble sometimes, you know, like just tone it down a bit, and this will be a thing to humble him.
Sure.
Because even though he's confident in season 2 or in season 1, he's not this. His demeanor is not the same.
Yeah,
he's not so boastful. He's not so like flippant necessarily about, you know, I don't know. He's different. He does feel more mature.
Yeah, for sure. Part of it's a little bit hard sometimes for me to gauge that because I'm watching it in different languages. So I watch season 1 in English and I'm watching season 2 obviously in Japanese. So The different
Okay,
voice actors can sometimes throw me off a little bit in terms of like how the character's demeanor appears.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
I
mean,
wasn't
also
clear
the
on
only
that, but I
difference
agree.
is sunglasses versus the bandana over his head. That's how they make him look younger.
Yeah.
Like,
I do want to know if there's like a story there though. Like, don't you keep seeing him in glasses and being like, when did you switch to bandana?
Well, I mean, for one, I feel like there was maybe an explanation we missed, but his eyes glow so blue when he's using one of his abilities.
Yeah,
So maybe he doesn't want to give that away.
maybe. Oh yeah.
I feel like, yeah, I mean, obviously with the sunglasses, we've seen his eyes more, like through them, around
It's a
them.
tell.
Like it's a fun little play, you know, that we're seeing them so much of them now. And in season 1, they're so much covered up.
Yeah. Maybe he got tired of people falling in love with him with those dreamy baby blues. He's like, I just gotta wrap these bad boys up. I just gotta cover them up. It's probably that.
It could be. Yeah, could be. Did you guys know that our baddie here, Toji, is like cousin to Maki? And that their abilities are then similar. So Maki has her whole thing with her family, the Zenin family. That's a big thing. And her whole deal is using cursed weapons.
Right.
Because she can't use the kind of sorcery
Cursed
like
energy.
others.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But her physical abilities are amplified. And so
Are they,
Gojo
though?
recognizes this.
She's not like he is.
Okay. She is able to dodge bullets. And I think she caught
maybe
one
I
at one point,
forgot
maybe
about
2
that.
or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, whatever this is, like Gojo said something like, "Oh, the gods have enhanced your body or his body or something like that." So I don't know what it is with the Zenin family.
Yeah.
And what's a little different because Maki's sister can wield cursed energy and then does not have these physical enhancements.
Right.
So I'm just interested to see more of this family dynamic and what happens between them and how some elements of the family have this and what. So.
It really seemed like Maki was like an outcast on some level, though. Not an outcast, but just like looked down on, like, oh, she's just like the black sheep because she doesn't have the same powers we have. Not like it's something to be celebrated. Maybe it's happened to that guy too. He's like an outcast of the family. That's why he works as like a wet works dude.
Could be.
Yeah. Why he needs the money other than his gambling problem.
He's a gambling addict. I really like his character, but he scares me. Like when that dude he bumped that guy, and the guy
Noodles.
And that he just crouches down, and I would have been like that guy on the floor. I'd been like, "Whoa, hey, just kidding. Sorry, don't murder me brutally, because clearly you're a very dangerous person." And that dude you can just feel it in his demeanor.
Yeah, I think it's well put together, because he is it's nonchalant. He's just goofing around, betting on races, whatever. But it's the kind of person that, that seems to not care, nothing seems to faze them. That is extra scary. And he's always, now, I mean, surely he's, he's done his research on Gojo. He knows what he's up against.
Yep.
Well, he's known him since he was a kid. And they had that flashback.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
that was the coolest part. He knew how dangerous he was. Like, he's the only one that ever noticed me behind him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That was him.
He was like
Creeping up
walking
on
with his
me.
mom. He was like a 8-year-old or something like that.
Yeah, just to like build on that, I hope they have more flashbacks because that was really fun to like see that. But then also, I'd love to see like any connection with Maki's family to like tie that all together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see that. And also, random side note, I love that like he was betting on boat races.
I know.
Like it's just not like the usual like ponies or whatever, dog races or whatever.
I love boat races. How dare you?
No, it reminds me of my dad when we as a kid we did not have cable, and one year like my dad finally persuaded my mom like we're gonna get cable, and she broke down and she was like okay. And my dad was the one who couldn't handle it. Like they thought I was going to be like the TV addict, but my dad was staying up to like 3, 4 in the morning. He was like, I would watch races. like it didn't even matter what it was. I was watching like swamp buggies, like, you know, little dune buggies. Like if it had wheels and there was one against another, I was watching it. So that just reminds me. It just reminds me of that when he was just like, I couldn't get enough. I didn't even care what it was. I was watching boat races.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boats to underwater. More water scenes here.
I was going to actually add one other thought there. I think I'm interested to learn more about Gojo's lineage in general because I rewatched the very end of the movie to kind of prepare for the last pod that I mostly missed. And they talk in the very end about that. Is it Yuta, the main character in the movie? Yuta is like descended from the same Sorcerer Supreme as Gojo. So like there's like these family connections, and I just
interesting.
I think it's gonna be interesting, you know. And they talk about like he's like the from the Gojo clan, like that's a particularly powerful clan. So I think there's like, as they've already indicated, powerful clans, powerful people. Like, you know,
I didn't catch that at all. I don't know that I caught that the first time I watched it.
I only remembered that it was a strong clan. It's like, oh yeah, that's pretty good clan.
Same.
Yeah, he's like related to Yuta or whatever. Yeah, so. That dude's going to be powerful probably in the future. I imagine he'll come pop back up in the next season or two. So
interesting.
Maybe in the second half of the season. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, so I was a couple of things that I went back to watching these few episodes that I was a little confused on. I don't know if you guys were or not. I was trying to find out, did they ever explain what the ability that Gojo was using that he then released that opened him up to attack once he was within the school barrier? I didn't find anything.
No.
It was just like in general, like it must be an increased awareness or something. You know, Geto says he can see very well. Yeah, because his eyes, you know, he blinks, his eyes go dim, and he takes a big sigh out, and then the ability's gone, and then he's stabbed. So
they say something later about like his six-eyed something.
Okay.
But I didn't know if that was like the technique particularly that he was holding.
Not sure. If anything, I'm more confused about Gojo's abilities than I was before the episode. The last couple episodes.
Fair.
Yeah, it was like creating, you know, what? It's like basically creating gravity or something, right? It's like being able to pull and push things to points, and so he can really expand that and be creative with, I don't know.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I'm okay with, because I would rather be a little not sure or confused than go through a whole bunch more explainer, because I am in my notes now giving each episode an exposition rating out of 5. And in episode 2, I didn't love it that much. I gave it a 3 out of 5 for Gojo's speech. Kind of explain. I'd have to go back and watch it again. Him explaining his abilities there. Yeah. It's like, you know, like I'm okay with you just doing cool shit. You know, so long as it feels consistent, you get to work it in some other way, how you can slowly explain a little bit what's happening here.
Yeah.
So I'm not asking for more explanation. I just thought maybe I missed some things or something.
Right.
So.
And maybe we're not meant to know like yet exactly how it works, because I also feel similarly confused with like this assassin dude. Like I get that he doesn't have any cursed energy, but like I don't really still understand why he's so fast, or how he can like switch weapons around so fast, or where he's keeping them, or why he has like a cursed spirit hanging out on him initially. And like, just because he doesn't have any cursed energy, does that mean he can just like kill Gojo? Like he can just get in, Gojo can't like hold him at bay, like because it's like the closer they get,
the technique
they get, but it doesn't work for him. But is it only for people with a little level of cursed energy? Because does that mean there's a lot of people who could theoretically like come and stab him? Or
I think it was that it was like, no, I think that it's one, having the cursed weapons makes a difference. Like the cursed weapons, are imbued with some sort of ability that makes them a lot stronger. We saw this even in season 1 when Maki got out of storage. I forgot who's storing it for her. Yeah. Her big staff. It's like a level 5 cursed weapon. Don't lose this. And against the tree guy, it actually had some impact, because it was such a powerful weapon.
You're right,
so one, using and being able to use the powerful cursed weapons is one thing. And then two, I think just that, the sorcerers rely on detecting cursed energy. They can detect that. And so if you don't have any, if you don't typically control that, then they can't sense you and what you're doing and what you're about to do in the same way. Kind of like the force, and they can't feel you're an empty void in the force.
Yeah.
But so Gojo tries to I think track the thing that's attached to him or the weapon, and so he uses all those little decoys then.
Right.
However he calls about that with his little buddy, So I don't know what that relationship is or how that works.
Right. Yeah. Like how is he able to do that then?
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense that. So what you're maybe kind of saying is that any regular old vanilla human without any jujutsu cursed, energy manipulation abilities like a jujutsu sorcerer could theoretically be dangerous to a jujutsu sorcerer, but just the vast majority are I'm not going to try to attack a jujutsu sorcerer. Except
I think it's a legit question, because if you say you have no cursed energy and therefore I can't track you, naturally it would follow okay, so the vast majority of people don't have cursed energy, what does that mean for them? But they're not generally squaring off in battle against one another.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But most people aren't. It's not gonna you don't need anything else to track them. A human, you're gonna be I see you,
because they can't.
I can
move,
they
can't manipulate.
Right, they can't move at Mach speed or whatever.
Don't let me, Bob. I see you, Bob. Don't come over here.
Yeah,
stay over there. Don't even try this. Don't mess with me.
Yep.
So I did look a little bit up, and so Gojo has the rare 6 eyes gift, which is an innate ability. It's not cursed energy, and it is about seeing and sensing presence. I didn't read more because I didn't want to get too far in it and perhaps maybe spoil something for myself. But
they said he had 2 things. It was the eyes, and then what else?
The limitless something.
Oh yeah, limitless.
But it makes sense that the ability he was using to protect.
Once they got inside the barrier that he might have been dropping was the 6 eyes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Well,
they just threw it out there. It was super quick.
Okay. Yeah. I think it'll be revealed more as the season goes on. But I just think this is a show, and granted, I don't know. I've not seen all shows, but this seems like a show that's really going to play with jumping around in time, jumping around timelines, and you'll be things that don't seem very connected at all, and it's going to beautifully knit together to this amazing series climax. It's going to be off the chain. I just have this feeling. Yep. It's going to be awesome.
Sure. JP, what do you think of Riko here and her kind of last minute decision that she doesn't want to do this? I'm not going to do this, actually. And what do you think of Geto saying that, hey, Gojo and I we're students, but we kind of talk through it, and whatever you want, really, come with us, we'll protect you, or not.
Yeah, I forgot what's the downside if she refuses.
Well, okay, so that was one thing I was a little looking back at, because
I couldn't remember
it was yes. So Tengen is a very old spirit that every so often, every 500 years, goes and seeks out, supposedly feel or sense this star vessel thing that is compatible to assimilate with him, because his curse is going to consume him basically, and he'll evolve to be not human. He'll evolve, go to the next form, and Gojo's like, well, when that doesn't sound so bad, why not? You know.
Sure.
But the issue was that when you aren't human anymore, what is your will like? The idea is that it wouldn't have the same human desires or will or whatever. It could become a threat to the school, to the world, to whatever, because you don't know what this being would become.
Right.
And the power of Tengen right now, at the center of Jujutsu High or whatever, is supposedly enhancing the barriers and protections and everything that the sorcerers already use to be able to do combat and stuff. So it's like,
doesn't he like hide cursed objects too? Like they were talking about like all the doors in season 1 that he like hide, that you have to like go through to maybe like find specific cursed objects to use or like, you know.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he does a lot of things. He's like the power for the school, kind of.
Yeah.
I think of it like the Emperor in Star Wars, because in the expanded universe books, it was always that the Emperor, over every engagement, every battle in space, the idea was the Emperor was sitting there, like through the Force, giving his soldiers like not like a pep talk, but like courage, getting rid of inhibitions. All this sort of thing, like influencing. He was that powerful in the Force. He'd be influencing the battle from afar, and then at the same token, like sending in depression and thoughts of hopelessness in the enemy. And so it was like very important to these central engagements that the Emperor was there and influencing. And so that's the way I think of this character as well, is like just having this influence and this incredible power that spreads throughout the whole sorcerer, like world here, that they take advantage of.
He's like the hive mind AI that runs the Matrix.
Yeah.
Basically.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, or the Emperor. That's.
So I don't know. So yeah, with that in mind, JP, what do you think? I mean, would she be making the right choice? Were you surprised that she had a choice here? You know, was it the right one?
That Gojo and people were just like, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to. We're not here to bully you. We have some orders, but we totally get it if you don't want to do this thing. And I wasn't really expecting that kind of sympathy from especially those guys. I thought they would be more just hammers and here's the nail, let's go get the job done, which showed the kind of complete opposite compared to the other, the bad guy hitman type piece. But I was not expecting to see.
That's hilarious.
That scene was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was.
But I don't know. That gunshot, I wasn't expecting a gun, because you haven't seen too many like gunshot kills in this show.
No, we haven't
at all. And just
that might be the first, actually.
I think it is. And it just came out of nowhere, and I was just like, no. Everyone's so happy. It's like, how the hell did that guy catch up so fast?
Yeah.
But
JP, sorry. Were you surprised, JP? Sorry, that Tengen's wives weren't like annoyed that he wanted to like assimilate with this young vessel.
Oh my gosh, are you crossing over shows? You crossing the streams of shows?
They're all connected, John.
So looks like you're doing
across the streams.
Yeah, this, we don't know what this Tengen looks like, but Tengen from Demon Slayer is certainly a stud. So who wouldn't want to assimilate with him?
Become his vessel.
I need a fourth vessel for my rod.
That's
yeah. Anyway, I thought I was just, my mouth couldn't like hit the desk anymore. It's just like So I'm jacked for the next piece. Like just
so I just want to like quick comment because, and I'm gonna throw it back old school. So I am a huge Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan. That's one of my all-time favorite shows. And of course that show is like grounded in the supernatural, and so many of the fights are always like vampires and demons and sorcery and magic and like, grounded in all of that. but there's like one episode in season 6 where someone is killed with a gun. And it's so insanely impactful because you don't see it coming. Because everything is always like, you can stop the sword or the arrow or the, you know, whatever like weapon. But then somebody's killed by a gun and it's just so like out of the blue because nobody expects that. And that's how I felt here. It was just so much more impactful because, you know, you're always expecting sorcery or, you know, old school weapons that can be blocked somehow. And guns just don't do that. They don't operate that way. So
yeah, that's a good point.
It just adds to like the shock value to be like, oh, like nobody blocks that because nobody sees that coming.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more
I've
devastating.
seen that in something else. Like it is one of those things where you're crossing like fantasy or something, and yeah, absolutely. You always think
with
that
a level
the
of
fantasy
reality
element is the danger. You know, it's. I think even on maybe in what's it, Shadow and Bone, there's some element of that sometimes. Like
there's like somebody gets killed by a gun, and you're just like, wait.
Yeah.
Like how did that come in here?
Yep. Let's see. So, JP, you were saying about people being surprised that this kind of empathy came from Gojo and Geto, and I think the empathy comes from Geto, in that he sees this young girl with potential yet and a life to live and all this stuff. Is like, do you really want to just, you know, throw that away? And you know, Gojo, I wonder, you guys tell me if you think I'm wrong on this or whatever. Is he empathizing because obviously he's giving her more time on the beach, you know, like, hey, is it an attempt to influence her in a way? You know, because I think part of Gojo maybe just wants to see is what will happen. Because he's so cocky. Hey, Tengen goes away. He evolves. Maybe we have to fight him. Let's see what happens. I can deal with it. You know?
Yep. Well, and I even read it as something like, if you want more time, you want a couple years, Gojo and I will take care and make sure you're always protected. And then you can like assimilate with Tengen
later,
5 years from now. Like the guy's not going to evolve immediately. I don't think. It's just a matter of she's in danger until she does assimilate with him. So I took it as more like she's going to do it eventually, but she doesn't want to do it yet. And they're like, that's cool. We already talked about it. We can give you time. We'll protect you in some way.
I took it that way too.
Okay.
Well, they did have that back clip, that back little like shot back that we didn't see initially, because Geto does say Gojo and I talked about it. And that was kind of part of what Gojo said, you know, was, you know, hey, we might have to fight Tengen. And Geto's like, was that scare you or something? Is that, you know, it's like, no, or whatever. So we had that. And then I was a little confused, but they seemed to be suggesting that their teacher was speaking to them, the future principal, in a bit of code saying, hey, you know, like, this doesn't have to happen.
Right.
It's like,
like we shouldn't do it
suggesting
against
it's kind of a sin.
Yeah.
Like if she decides no one's forcing her. If she decides she doesn't want to do this, no one's going to make her. That kind of thing. Like in code.
Yeah. Right.
But that is the vibe. I guess I ultimately get like that they were like, we can just give you time, or if you don't want to do this, no one's going to make you. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is nice to hear, because that seems pretty shady. Where they're like, so you're going to be the Star Plasma vessel. You have to assimilate with this being. Congratulations, it's a very honorable position to be sacrificed.
Right.
But I think that is what would happen.
Lucky you.
I think if that went through and that was the case, I think that they would be at odds with the rest of whatever the hierarchy is here in the sorcerers.
Probably.
I don't think it's like an approved, like, hey, if you don't want to. I think it's, and that's why I was kind of surprised by them, like, kind of sticking their neck out in that way. It's like, hey, if you want us to, like, get out of here and protect you, we will.
Yeah.
But that puts us at odds probably with the rest of everybody. So
it shows what kind of guys they are. Where they're like, we'll give up everything to protect someone from being forced to do something they don't want to do. Like,
I mean,
a permanent like death.
Yeah. Like totally yes. And also like I feel like it's a little rogue part of Gojo's personality. Like thinking about the movie where he's just like, I'm gonna like let Yuta loose and just like see what happens.
Yeah.
And see, if like Rika comes out and like,
Yeah.
I just kind of want to see what happens.
Yeah.
And so that it felt both like he's an awesome guy here for being like, if you want to, hold off for a couple years, like I wasn't expecting that. So awesome. And also it feels like a little bit of his like Daredevil, like,
like
whatever
I don't care.
happens.
Yeah.
I'll just, I'll see.
Yeah. I'll show them. They don't want, I'll let this girl go. Watch me. I'll protect her. Sure. You're not going to stop me.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Just to John, that scene that you were showing a still for a minute ago with her at the aquarium.
Yep.
Just like looking back, tragic, but just a gorgeous scene, like with the music and the animation and like, just like right in the feels.
I wanted to bring it up too, because like even in the moment, I think I took note of it. It's like, still this season feels like a completely different show than season
gorgeous.
1. It is just has a different hand behind it, and I'm curious whether this is going to continue when we do the time jump forward. Yeah, or if this is a feel for this time right now.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about that because a couple episodes for sure in this last one. Yes, the piano piece in the aquarium was great. I tried to have my phone identify which song it was. Didn't come up or whatever. So like I'm sure it'll come on the soundtrack eventually. But it was just like there's been some very good musical moments. There's been time that's been taken out. Like I remember season 1, it felt very breakneck, very exposition in your face, very like action moment to action moment, a lot of and this is just feels paced and spaced and meaningful and everything. So I don't know, I'm liking it.
Yep, me too.
We need Mike here to say what sucks here.
Yeah, I know.
JP, you got something that really sucks?
Yeah, channel your inner Mike, JP.
My inner Mike. You can't have Gojo pretend dying because we already know he lives. Like that's so stupid that you think he's dead.
Oh,
yeah,
good. That's a great one. See, I knew you could do it.
How dumb is that? We already know he's alive. Why would you even try and kill him? Ugh. The girl could probably get shot in the head, and she probably just assimilates randomly. And
Then it's like, oh, she's already here.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Got her.
All right. Gotta catch you guys later. I gotta go watch Cars and hit my engine with a wrench. Do some push-ups.
You again with the hit the engine with a wrench.
Dude, that
oh my gosh.
The hot rod video just
Okay. So I want to pose something that I am genuinely like sort of confused or like are you guys cool with? Like was the kidnapping of her maid just like red herring? We're just gonna like it's fine, exchange, it happened, done, we're in Okinawa now.
Yeah, they're like, okay, we got her back, bye. Like
right.
I think I know why. I think I know why.
Maybe I could have like had a minute about it.
No, I think what the deal was, I think all this is setting up the idea that, Gojo and Geto are so good. They're like, yes, they're these students, but they're so powerful. And so these groups, these cults that are after her and stuff, they're just not a threat. They're just not a problem. So we get all worried, hey, they captured her and stuff. And then we just see in a little flashback, knocking in the door and Gojo just kind of like stomping the guy a little bit. It's they do it in a cartoony manner. Like it's all like with a sense of humor. So it's like all these threats that are out there, we're lulled into a sense of safety here. That they're just we have this taken care of. It's not a big deal. We've got this. All the protections are in place. No one's a threat to us. So then when the threat is here, it's shocking.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's my thing, my thought.
I actually, speaking of her, I had a thought. I'm sorry if I interrupted you, Andrea.
You're good.
We haven't seen her do anything except attack that clone. Like, she's clearly very skilled, and she was like her maid, but I think more importantly, she was probably this chick's bodyguard for many years. I feel like the show makes you think that. So we saw her like attack one of the clones, the mop a bit, she was very skilled, but I have a feeling she's going to be like a really powerful jujutsu sorcerer who's like hasn't had to do anything yet. I think she might help Geto with this dude, or maybe she'll go save Gojo somehow. Like, I think she might be the one that maybe saves Gojo and not Geto. Or maybe
interesting.
That could be interesting.
She's got to be a powerful jujutsu sorcerer. Who else would they let someone that wasn't like be the protector for the Star Plasma vessel? This lady's this girl's presumably been in a target for a long time,
right?
It's not like they just figured out who she's been prepping for this for her whole life, right?
Right. There's so much of her backstory that they're like, I've been special since I was young. Like they always told me, I always felt different. Yeah.
So this chick, and they left her back by the elevator. So we don't know where she was when that guy came in. Mm-hmm. Did she get killed? Maybe. Or maybe she like saw him coming and like hid and he doesn't know she's there. So she's still like back there ready to unleash some crazy shit, which I hope happens.
That's a good point. I like all that. But they do need to explain then how she was captured by these people. Yeah. And she even says by someone that's not a cursed energy user. Good point. She's like, they weren't even a sorcerer, you know, and so she feels really down on herself.
That kind of blows a hole in my theory. We'll see.
But yeah, I mean, there could be something, but yeah, it'd be nice to like sort of be like, where did we go from like being captured?
Yeah.
Hey, we have her. It's just fine.
Right.
Like, you know, we're horsing around in Okinawa and now like, you know, is she going to be like a player moving forward? Like, why was she allowed to protect, you know, Rika all this time? Like, Right.
Or maybe
she has a very specific ability. Like it literally is some sort of like one-off bring you back from the dead ability.
Maybe, yeah.
You know? And she stumbles upon Gojo, brings him back, and then Rika's dead.
She's like
then she'd have to choose between Rika and Gojo maybe because Rika needs to assimilate with Tengen.
Right. Maybe.
And maybe she can't do that. Or do we save Gojo and like she saves Gojo and like what does that mean for Tengen then?
Right.
We're gonna be so off. It's gonna be none of this.
I don't know. But it's
I don't
fun
know.
to speculate.
It could. If she isn't super powerful, then I want to know why people have been trying to attack Rika for years. Why all of a sudden?
Because the location was kept secret. The person and all that stuff was the problem why they were sent after it was leaked. Yeah.
How? So
but like
really
who and how?
Oh man. The maid is actually a double agent.
Ooh.
I'd be sad.
We have so many theories about her. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This dude. He's bad news.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't
appreciate him.
I don't know.
You know the weird thing is, I feel like Yuji and Todo could like take care of that dude. The way they fight, it's like a different fighting style than Gojo. They're all like hand to hand, like fast as hell. Like they could do it.
The way they're like dual. Oh god, it's my favorite during like this the school event where they just like get in it and they're just like in sync with one another.
Yeah.
That's honestly my favorite exposition of the show is him explaining his hand claps. That's the most natural exposition and explanation of powers this show has ever done.
Yes. Yep. That's how you do it right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
With like like kind of in your mind stuff, right? You know, like I didn't mind that because they would go through and they would say how long this, like the time that had lapsed, right? Didn't they do that? Like this amount of time?
I think so.
No, that stuff works.
It looks a little bit like Gabimaru for a second there, and that's still.
Yeah, that was a crazy
Paradise. What am I looking at now?
Yeah.
My throat feels weird. Hard to swallow for anyone else.
Is it like visceral?
Yeah. You know, when you see people get checked, you're just like, man, it's what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
For
All
sure.
right. Are we missing anything? I mean, we've theorized now. Seems like we're all pretty high on the show thus far.
So good.
JP had a channel mic in order to come up with something really negative.
Thanks, JP. I didn't have anything, so.
Yeah, I feel like they've left us on like a really insane cliffhanger that could just go a million directions.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I felt like coming into it, I just like really enjoyed episode 3.
Yeah.
Because the ending is just so like, what? And like, you know, the cliffhanger on 2 was like, oh no, we captured the maid. But like, you know, it was mild in comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like this is more of like a end of the arc cliffhanger. Like this is episode 3 and Gojo's laying in the dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
we have 2
didn't last time we talk about how many episodes we got for this like rewind? How many did we get?
Should be 2 more. I think there's 2 more.
Okay.
So I think that feels perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, to keep the pace and stuff.
That sounds about right.
But I think it hinges on next episode. My big deal is there has to be sacrifice to save Gojo. If this is a get out of jail easy, you know, get out of jail free card thing, if this is some quick and easy explanation, I will be bringing the mic. I'm not happy. It can't be just some sort of
riot in the streets.
right on my street out here, you know, just
everyone around you'll be like, what's this guy talking about?
Yeah.
The one neighbor John has.
Right.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I walk, you know, quarter mile to pick it in front of someone else's house.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Gojo is too OP. That's what your sign can say.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, I think that'll about do it then. I'm happy that you were all able to make it. Too bad Mike didn't make it this week, but next week, we had lots of other stuff to talk about and stuff. I read lots of manga this last week. So
John was just reading. John was just like straight up reading from the manga to us.
I was gonna say it's like How I Met Your Mother. Instead of reading the newspaper, he's like, "I'm gonna read this manga to you guys, and we're just gonna."
And then for a while, we just like silently blinked at each other for like 20 or 30 minutes. So that was fun too.
You were like his kids from How I Met Your Mother, just like
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. No.
I appreciate your sacrifice.
I should have more pictures to show, but next time.
John is salty. I came in. He's like, Andrea, 10 more minutes. Oh, hi, Nina.
Cat came on to visit me.
Nice. All right.
Hey, Nina.
Okay, well, this show usually happens every other week. We're going to be continuing to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen. So in 2 weeks from now, we'll have the wrap up for this arc before we go to like recap episodes and breaks and stuff like that. So during the recap episode weeks and such will be time to talk about other things. So coming up, we'll be talking about Hell's Paradise. We'll be talking about Heavenly Delusion. We're all watching Zom 100 now, so eventually we'll get to that whenever that. We'll probably just do a whole big season thing with that.
Sweet.
And otherwise, next week you can look forward to our regular Popcast on the Rocks main show with Andrea and I. I don't know what we'll be covering yet, but we'll figure it out. We got a lot of things on the list to talk about. Just got to pick one. So make sure you follow in all the applicable places, Twitch, Rumble. This was streamed live on Rumble, so that's an option for you now if you want. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all those sorts of places. We are available on podcast directories as well, so subscribe. MJ Honeybee, thanks for being in chat way back when Francesco T was in chat. That's much appreciated. MJ Honeybee is a good friend, and she is on Twitch streaming Dead by Daylight most of the time. She has a very active and good Discord community as well. So if you're at all interested in Dead by Daylight, you should make sure to check that out. Sometime I'll get this thing. She has this thing where you can like do some sort of key command or whatever and play like a 20-second clip from a channel. I don't know how that works exactly. She did send me a thing about it, so sometime I'll get that going so we can see a clip from her channel. I think that's about it. Go see, he's not here tonight, he's doing whatever, bowling with friends or something stupid, but Mike, he has a channel, track_mouse. You can follow him on YouTube for sure. That's where I watch stuff. He has quite a few videos up there actually. And he recently put a one that didn't go as well. He said he has put the things on there that not just the races that go well, but also the ones that not so much. So go ahead and follow him at track_mouse. And,
well, that's dope. He has his handle inside of his car too for his camera.
Yeah, the
I haven't
Instagram or whatever, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, well, go through and watch them all and give them all a like. Got to make sure you give them all thumbs up.
Yep,
or just go through and give them all like and not watch them. That's an option as well.
Well, that's fine too. Yeah, but having the view is good. So it's good for people with kids. Like it's a steady drone generally. Totally. So yeah.
Oh,
soothing.
Yeah. See, Mike's watching him now, and I should pull next time. I'll pull one up on here. That'll be easy. I'll do the next time. Yeah. So
it's good.
Okay. All right. Thanks everybody for joining me, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, John.
See you guys.
Sounds good. Bye.